You've been blaming AI for bad output. And I'm here to tell you with a little love and a little sarcasm that AI is not the problem. You are. Before you go anywhere, this is actually great news because you can fix you a lot easier than you can fix a $1 billion language model. Hey, Gen Xers, what's up, friends? I want to paint a picture for you. You sit down, you open up your AI tool of choice, Chat, Claude, Gemini, whatever. You type in a request, and what comes back is fine. It's technically fine. Usable in the way that, like, a plain rice cake is technically food. It's just not wrong. Well, it's kind of wrong, but it's completely devoid of anything that makes it you or interesting or tasty or useful for your specific situation. So then you either use it anyway, roll your eyes a little bit, like we do, or you rewrite the whole thing yourself and wonder why you even bothered to start with this, or you close the tab, slam the computer, and decide that AI is overrated anyway. Sound familiar? Here's what's actually going on. It's not the tool, it's the instructions you gave the tool, the prompts. And once you understand that, really deeply understand those, the prompting, everything can change for you because you can fix your instructions. You cannot fix AI's entire architecture from your single solitary laptop at 9 p.m. And I've spent the last few videos talking about building up to this one. We talked about giving AI a job, building a system, four-step process before you add any new tools to your business. We talked about where AI should never be involved in the last one, all of that. And all of that was leading to here, I think, because none of this works if your prompts suck. A great system with a sucky prompt still gives you sucky output. Garbage in, garbage out. Old cliche. We learned that one back in the Commodore 64 days, and it's still true today. If you're new here, I'm Lisa. I help Gen X business owners figure out what to do with AI in their business, and very importantly, what not to do. No jargon, no hype, just straight talk. So hit subscribe right now because these videos are kind of forming into a series and they're building on each other, and you're going to want to catch the next one. The first thing I want to talk about is why all this is even happening. Because I think understanding the why can help make our fix stick a lot better. Most people approach AI like it's a search engine, like we're still new to Google. You type in a question or a request and you expect a relevant result and then you move on. That's how we've been trained to interact with tech for like the last 25 years. You put something in, something comes out, you're done. AI is not a search engine, though. It is something very fundamentally different. And using it like a search engine is exactly why you keep getting results that feel generic, flat, just not what you're looking for. So here's a better way, I think, to think about it. AI is like a brand new hire on their very first day at work. They're genuinely smart, they're eager to help, they're capable of doing a lot of things very well. But they walked in the door 30 seconds ago and they know absolutely jack about how you do things. They don't know your clients, they don't know your standards, they don't know your voice. They don't know what you've already tried or what's already failed. They don't know your industry quirks or your specific market or those three special things your best clients always care about the most. They're just sitting there with all this capability and potential and no context. And then you walk up to them and say, "Write me a marketing email," and walk away. What are they supposed to do with that? They're going to write the most reasonable, average, statistically acceptable marketing email that they can based on every marketing email that they've ever seen, which is fine, like a rice cake. It's just not yours. It doesn't sound like you. It doesn't speak to your people, our people, and it doesn't reflect anything specific about your business. And that's not a them problem. This is a you didn't give them enough to work with problem. We talked about this a couple of videos ago. AI is a really fantastic intern. This is kind of the next level of that same idea. A great intern still needs good management. They need a good mentor. And good management means very clear instructions. And now here's the other thing that I wanted to go over before we get into the fix. There's a whole cottage industry that's grown up around prompt engineering right now. Courses, certifications, I've got a couple of my own, YouTube channels, frameworks with 17 steps and their own acronyms and initialisms. And some of it is genuinely overcomplicated in a way that makes normal people feel like they need a computer science degree just to ask AI to write that marketing email. But here's the truth part: prompting well really does matter. A lot is legitimately the difference between AI being useful and it being a frustrating waste of your time. And that's not what we're here to do. The people getting real results from AI, they're not just winging it, they understand how to talk to it, how to work with it. That's not overblown hype, that's just how AI works. The good news is it doesn't have to be complicated. Prompting well is fundamentally a communication skill. And you have been communicating for quite some time because we're Gen Xers. You know how to give clear directions. You know how to describe what you want. You know what your standards are. You know that better than anybody else. You just need to learn how to translate that into something AI can work with. And once you do, once you have a solid set of prompts that are built around your business, your voice, the way your customers work, it stops feeling like a guessing game. It gets fun and it starts feeling like a system. That's exactly why I put together the AI Clarity Starter Bundle. It gives you a starting set of prompts that are already built within this framework I'm going to go over, so you're not figuring it all out from scratch. It's free, it's linked down below. But first, let me show you how this framework works in itself so you can understand what makes a prompt work. Because understanding that means you can build on it, you can customize it, make it truly yours. And really, Gen X is perfectly set up for this. We grew up having to give explicit instructions to tech, or it did not do anything. There was no figure it out for me. There was no autocomplete back in the day. There was no algorithm guessing what you meant. You said what you meant, or you got nothing. We trained for precision out of pure necessity. And this is the same muscle. We just have to wake it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to go over this three-step framework of what your prompt needs. And every prompt needs this to actually work at its best. Three, not 5011, just three. Number one, a role. Before you give AI any task, you need to tell it who it's supposed to be for that task. Make sense? This sounds a little weird at first, but it makes an enormous difference in what comes back. Not in a dramatic way, just a very practical, directional sentence, such as act as a direct, no fluff business advisor to a Gen X service business owner. Act as an experienced copywriter who specializes in conversational, slightly sarcastic content for small business owners, or act as a strategic consultant helping a solo business owner figure out what to focus on this week. Why does this work? Because it sets the frame for everything that follows. AI is going to filter every decision it makes about your output through that role. The vocabulary it uses, the assumptions that it makes, the level of detail that it goes into, its expertise, the tone it takes, all of it shifts when you give it a role to work from. It's a difference between asking a random person at a party for a restaurant recommendation versus asking somebody who's lived in that neighborhood for 10 years. They've got strong opinions and they actually care about giving you a good answer. Same question, completely different quality of response. Context changes everything. And that's what we're after, is the quality response. Number two thing that a good prompt needs: the specific job. This is where I see a lot of people falling short on their prompting. They're being way too vague about what they actually want. Write me an email. It's not a job description, that's a category. Here's what a real job description looks like: write a 300-word follow up email to a prospect who attended my free webinar last week but hasn't booked a discovery call yet. The tone should be warm but direct, not pushy, not desperate. One clear call to action at the end, no corporate language, no exclamation points, no fake urgency phrases like limited time or don't miss out. Look at what's in there: length, who the audience is, what they did, what you want them to do next, the tone, very important, specific things to avoid. This is a job description, and that is something that AI can actually work with. And here's another thing: this is not as much work as you think it is. Once you get in the habit of thinking this way, it takes maybe 2 extra minutes to set this up. 2 minutes of being super specific upfront saves you 20 minutes of rewriting everything on the back end. And that math is going to work every single time. We wouldn't tell a contractor, like, hey, go build me something in the backyard and expect to love what shows up. We'd give them dimensions, materials, a budget, a timeline, a purpose. What is it? This is the same thing. The third thing that a good prompt needs is your standard. And this is the piece that almost everybody skips entirely. And it's the piece that makes the biggest difference, in my opinion, in whether your output sounds like you or sounds like everybody else. You have to tell AI what good looks like specifically for you and from you. My audience is Gen X business owners between 45 and 60 who are skeptical about AI and do not respond to hype, corporate language, or anything that sounds like it was written by a 25-year-old who's never run a business. I write in short paragraphs, plain conversational language. I use humor and sarcasm. I avoid buzzwords, no synergy, no game changing, no ecosystem, nothing that sounds like a 2009 TED Talk. My content always has one main point and one call to action, not three options, one. I don't bury the ask. That's your style guide or something like it. And once you write it, that once, you reuse it forever. You paste it into every prompt that involves your voice and your brand. It takes 30 seconds. And the not even the difference in what comes back is truly significant. Let me show you a before and after because I think seeing it side by side or one after the other, we'll see how this plays out, is what really makes this make a lot of sense. The before prompt: write me a LinkedIn post about AI for business owners. What you get back is something that probably opens with, in today's rapidly evolving digital landscape. Ugh. It uses the word transformative at least once. There are 3 exclamation points, of course, on M dash or five. It has a 5 item bulleted list of key takeaways, some rocket emojis, and it sounds like it was written by a committee. You've seen approximately 4,000 posts that look exactly like this, and you've scrolled past every single one of them. The after prompt: act as a direct, slightly sarcastic content writer for a Gen X business audience. Write a LinkedIn post about why most business owners are using AI wrong and what they should be doing instead. Under 200 words, short paragraphs, no corporate jargon, no exclamation points, no bullet points. End with a genuine question that invites real responses from people who actually have opinions. Do that, and what you get back is something with a point of view, something that sounds like a real human who has real thoughts, and that's who wrote it. Something that your specific audience, because you told it who that is, might actually stop scrolling for instead of sliding right past into the void. Same AI, same tool, completely different output because the input was completely different. That's the whole secret. There is no secret, it's just specificity. Now, I want to talk about something that comes up a lot when I work with clients on this, and I'm going to guess some of you could be sitting there with the same feelings right now. This sounds like more work. AI is supposed to save me time, Lisa. What's going on? I hear you, and I want to reframe this just a little bit. I used to think that this seems like more work. Writing a good prompt up front is not more work. Writing a good prompt up front is an investment that pays you back every single time you use it. So here's how that math kind of plays out. Without a good prompt, you get mediocre output at best. You spend 20 to 30 minutes rewriting it because it sucked. You're still a little unsatisfied with the results. You wonder why you even bother. With a good prompt, you spend 3 to 5 minutes writing a solid prompt the first time. You get output that's maybe 75 to 80% there. You spend 10 minutes refining it, putting your voice on it, making sure you have something that you actually want to use. And then the second time you use that prompt that you've saved, because you saved it, like we talked about in a previous video, you spend 30 seconds swapping out the variables and you're already at 80, 85% again. Every single time it repeats consistently. That's not more work. That is front loading the work so the ongoing effort gets smaller and smaller over time. That's how you get time back on your calendar. That is the definition of a system. And we love a system, right? Okay. So here's one more thing I want to cover, and it's the part that I think is genuinely underrated in almost every conversation about prompting. When you get output that's not quite right, don't start over. I used to do this and I wasted so much time with this, but this is how we learn. Have a conversation. This is the part where people leave so much value on the table. They walk away. They get a first draft that misses in some specific way. They decide it's not working and they either accept the mediocrity or they go do it themselves or they start a whole new chat. But AI is actually very good at refinement when you tell it specifically what's off, such as, this is close, but the tone is too formal. Rewrite it like you're talking to a colleague over coffee, not presenting to a board of directors. Or, the opening paragraph is strong, but the ending is weak and vague. Rewrite just the last 3 sentences with a more direct, confident close. Or, this is too long and there's a lot of filler in the middle. Cut it by 40% and keep only the sentences that are actually doing something. Or, the first version was better in terms of structure, but this version had better examples. Combine the structure of the first with the examples from the second. You can get remarkably specific about what you want refined, and AI will work with you on it. It's your partner. This is a dialogue, it's not a transaction. The people who get the best results they're the ones who are treating this like a back and forth creative process rather than a one-shot request in and out. So here's what my recommendation for this week is. It's very simple, just one thing. Pick one task that you use AI for regularly, the one you're most frustrated with because the output is never quite exactly what you want. It's not quite right. Write a prompt for it using the 3-part framework that we just went over. Give it a roll, describe the specific job with real detail, tell it your standard, what good looks like for you specifically. Run it. Look at what comes back. Compare it to what you were getting before with your old vague request. Then save it. Save that prompt somewhere you can find it again. A Google Doc, a Notes app, whatever's good for you. Just save it. Because that is prompt number 1 in your prompt library. And your prompt library is the beginning of a real AI system that works consistently instead of occasionally and randomly. And this is literally what the AI Clarity Starter Bundle is built around. It gives you a starting set of prompts that are already written with this framework in mind, so you're not starting from a blank page. It's free, it's linked down below, so go grab that if you haven't already. This is also exactly the kind of thing that we build out together in the AI Clarity Audit. That's where I get into your specific business, your specific voice, your workflows, and we figure out together how to set AI up so it actually works for you, not a generic framework, yours, built around how you actually work and who you actually serve. The link to grab one of those is also right down below. So if this no BS, no jargon approach is working for you, and I'm guessing it is because we're nearly at the end of the video and you made it this far, go ahead and hit subscribe so we can keep on hanging out. In the next video, I'm getting into something that trips up a lot of Gen X business owners. specifically Gen X business owners. And I think you might recognize yourself in it about 4 seconds after we get started. We spent years making the perfect mixtape, agonizing over the order, the transitions, which song said exactly the right thing in exactly the right way, taking a pencil to rewind it when we had to. That was precision. That was curation at a high level. That was really knowing your audience, even if your audience was your crush in third period. Prompting AI well is that same skill. We've already got it. We just have to wake it up a little bit and use it. I'll see you next time.